behalf of auction.com, welcome to our online par for Hudson, Bergen, and Union counties. This is a pre-auction review. We do these about twice a month now, covering about 8 counties in our region. Before we get started, just want to let you know we're going to review about 20 properties today, covering these properties coming to sale in the next cycle, the next 2 weeks or so. So without further ado, I'm going to get started here with my expert panel. Mr. Louis Leyva, take it from here.
Thank you. Okay, guys, so today we're going to cover some properties that you may encounter in one of the Hudson, Bergen, or Union County sheriff sales, and we're going to teach you guys what to look for, how to make an expert decision, and sometimes how to make a decision without even getting into the property. So we're going to take you from the point of view of an investor or a point of view of a seasoned real estate agent, and we're going to take you one by one, give you all the things to look out for, all the good things, and after repair values of the homes, and all the bad things as well. So we'll jump right into our first property. First one we have today is going to be in Bergen County. The address on this one is 100 Grand Street in Garfield. Okay, this is a multifamily home. Let's go ahead and see what other information we were able to find. It's about 2,216 square feet. No parking on this one, and it's located near both private and public schools, so that's a good thing for any families that are looking to move in. It was built in 1910, and the taxes are approximately $7,428 per month. Now, this home, after repairs, can be resold for about $335,000. You may want to budget just under $60,000 for a reno, and you can get at the very least $2,600 in rent per month. Now let's check out what the title has to say about this property.
All right, so on the title, foreclosing out on the first mortgage, there does seem to be a second mortgage on this property. So title seems to be pretty clear. You're gonna hear me say one thing over and over again today. Make sure you check your taxes. When you do buy something at sheriff sale, you still are liable for all the past owed taxes. So make sure you call the city and find out what's actually owed and what's actually been paid.
On a property like this, lender will give you between 80 and 85% for the purchase of this property, which is, looking at the numbers, after 77% of the ARV, around $234,000 to $245,000, which should cover your purchase price and the $57,500 needed for repair. Worth noting, when it comes to hard money lending and comes to repairs are often reimbursed money, so lenders look for you to start the project with your own money and they reimburse you as you go. But a property like this fits into the model of 70% of the after repair value.
All right, our next property now is 809 Edgewater Avenue in Ridgefield. This is a huge single family home. The square footage on this one is approximately 3,500. Let's go ahead and jump into our next slide so we see what other features we found. So it is confirmed to be a single family as per the MLS with 4 bedrooms, 4 baths. It does have garage parking. There's 2 fireplaces and beautiful mountain views. Home also has central air, skylight, a really nice deck, and a lot of other amenities. The taxes on this property are really high, $13,506, so be careful with those. This home can be resold for $640,000 when it's in good condition. The repairs on this one could be as much as $105,000 if it's in bad shape on the interior. If you decide to rent this home, you can get about $4,400 in rent per month.
Yeah, that's a major thoroughfare there on Edgewater Ave in Ridgefield also. I would think this should go pretty quickly next week.
Yes, sir.
On the title side, title seems to be clear on this property, but this is definitely one of those ones you want to take your taxes off. I mean, you know, if there's taxes against the property and there's 2 years of taxes owed, you know, that's a good chunk of change that you could owe on top of what you're buying the property for. So make sure you call and find out what's owed on taxes.
Looking at this property, if we're looking at it after a repair value of $640,000, we're going to lend you 70% of that repaired value. That comes out to about $448,000. When you look at a rehab estimated of $105,000, that might go a little bit higher than that 70%. So in a case like this, potentially, you may have to have anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000 of your own money as well, in addition to the $105,000. So we may lend about 90% of the repair estimate on a property like this.
Our next property now is 239 West Street in South Hackensack, New Jersey. This brick style Cape Cod home is approximately 2,658 square feet. Let's go ahead and jump into our next slide and see what other data we found. All right, so it was confirmed to be a single family. The square footage is about 2,658 square feet. It's located near Memorial Elementary School, which has a rating of 6 out of 10 stars. And its taxes on this property are $9,917. This home can be resold for approximately $420,000 when it's in good condition. You may want to budget around $70,000 for repairs, and your rent on this home is going to be somewhere around $3,200 per month.
And on this one, title seems to be pretty clear on this. Just make sure you check your taxes.
Based on this property as well, we lent about $295,000 towards the purchase and financing of this property. You'd be in for about anywhere between 20 and 15% of the down payment, but this kind of fits in our model. You essentially get 100% of the rehab budget, plus $72,500.
All right, our next property now. Never fails. Our next property now, if you go back to the last screen, I believe is 301 Roosevelt Avenue, Hasbrook Heights. Approximate square footage is 2,740 square feet. What we're able to find on this home is that it is a 4-bedroom, 4-bath, single-family home. It does have a driveway parking, and the square footage is a little more than what we had on the previous slide. According to the MLS, it's actually 3,998 square feet. Property is in need of a lot of work, and it is subject to bank approval on the MLS. So the sellers are actively trying to sell this home, which means that it may get adjourned. So you have to look out for those. The taxes in this home are approximately $8,762 per year. The property can be resold when it's in good condition for $450,000. The repair estimate on this one is somewhere around $75,000, and the rent range on this one is approximately $3,400 per month.
All right, and on this one, it looks like there's a first and second mortgage, and then maybe a refinance later to roll it all into one. So the title seems to be clear on this. And other than that, make sure you check your taxes.
On this property, we loaned anywhere between $250,000 to $260,000 for purchase, give or take. We do loan off the as-is when it comes to a property. We loan you for purchase price 85% of the as-is value of the property, which, about $315,000 total loan amount based on the after repair value. So you would have enough money to do your rehab as well.
Our next property is 48 East Broad Street in Bergen. This colonial style home is 1,864 square feet. If we go to the next slide, we'll also see that this home is comprised of 5 beds, 1.5 baths. It does have driveway parking available. The property, as per the MLS, was newly renovated not too long ago, and it does have a walkout basement with plenty of light. Taxes on this property are $10,880 per year. The home can be resold for just around $400,000 when it's in good condition. The repair estimate on this one is somewhere around $68,500, and the rent on this one could be as high as $3,000.
And title on this also seems to be clear. Just make sure you check your taxes.
A lender's going to give you approximately $280,000 based on an ARV of $400,000. If you're in for, let's just call it 20% down payment, that's around $52,000. So you're gonna get there with your repair budget. This is gonna fit under 70% of the ARV. This is a kind of property we would definitely loan on.
Our next property on the screen is 114 Hackensack Avenue in Richfield Park. This is a single family residence with 1,890 square feet. Okay, so we found out that it has 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and it has a 2-car garage with an additional 2-car parking lot. This is located near New York City transportation, schools, parks, and the taxes are $9,821 per year. The home after repairs is worth approximately $340,000. You may want to budget around $56,000 for repairs, and the rent on this one could be somewhere around $2,600.
Luis, before you go on, does this look like a two-family,
It does.
single family, or what exactly
It
type
does.
of setup here would somebody be getting engaged with? This looks a little.
It does look like a two-family, but everything that we found pointed towards that it's only been listed as a one. Sometimes what people do is they set it up as a mother-daughter setup. So one entrance could lead to the basement level, and the other entrance could lead to the second and third floor. So that might be what they did here, because as you can see, one of them actually has, one of the doors has a glass on the front door, and the other one's a solid door. So that might be what they did here. But always be careful when you see something like this. You really want to analyze the pictures, because I've seen both. I've seen single families marketed as two families and two families marketed as single families. So you may want to do more diligence on this one and call the assessor's department and find out what they're taxing this as, and then now you can figure out exactly what you have on your hands.
Absolutely, because we wouldn't want you to buy it as single family. Then, of course, you get assessed for a two-family unit, if that's exactly what it is, or a multi-dwelling unit, if that's what it is.
Correct.
Thank you, sir.
And here for title, everything seems to be clear. The only thing we're really looking at is make sure you check your taxes.
Yeah, this property, we lent about $190,000 for purchase, give or take, maybe about $185,000, $190,000 for purchase. And a total loan amount of about $238,000, which will leave you about $48,000, $50,000 for rehab. In those scenarios where people say we lend up to 100% of the rehab, in a scenario like this, when the rehab budget's 55 and we're lending $50,000, again, it may mean that you would need to bring a little more money to the table in order to complete the rehab, but it's nothing out of the realm. And a lot of times these budgets are looking at the high side of things just to be safe.
All right, our next property now is 14 Margood Court in East Rutherford. This is a colonial style home that was remodeled recently. If we jump into the next slide, we can see some more information. So it is confirmed to be a single family with garage parking. It's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bathroom home. It was newly renovated, as I mentioned earlier, and it's located in a large cul-de-sac community. And it also features central air conditioning. The taxes in this home are actually reasonable for the type of home. They're only $10,398 per year. Now, this home, when it's renovated, can be resold for $625,000. The repair budget on this could be as high as $75,000 if it's not completed or if it's been damaged on the inside. And the rent you can get for a home like this is somewhere around $4,000+ per month.
All right, and title seems to be pretty clear on this property, because I actually don't think there's a ton of money owed on this property either, from what I see here. So that'll be interesting. And the last little bit is just make sure you check your taxes.
On this property for purchase, the as-is value is $435. We lend around 85% of the $435, give or take. That could go a little higher to 90, could go a little lower to 80, depending on your experience. That'd be around $370,000 of the $435,000. We're about $440,000 all in on a property with a repair value of $625,000. So that should pretty much cover all of your repairs, give or take $5,000.
Sorry about that.
All right, our next property is 153 Kip Avenue in Hasbrook Heights. This is a Cape Cod style home. The square footage on this is rather large for a Cape Cod, 2,221 square feet. Let's jump into our next slide. We can find some more data. So it's confirmed to be a single family. Driveway parking is available on this one. The square footage has also been confirmed at 2221. It's located near Lincoln Elementary School, which is rated an 8. So it's a good school district. Taxes on this one are $11,518. This home can be resold for approximately $445,000 when it's in good condition. The repair budget on this one could be around $65,000, and the rent range for this home could be about $3,400 per month.
Yes, and ladies and gentlemen, note it is in Hasbrook Heights, great community to live in, great school district. So I believe you would want to look at this property as well.
On that note, title is clear on this, and just check your taxes.
On this property, based on an ARV of $445,000, the after repair value, we lend around $315,000 total. That would give you about, for 85% of the as-is, gives you around $250,000 of the as-is value, leaving you with about $65,000 to do your repairs. So this kind of fits in perfectly with the hard money lending model.
Okay, our next property now is 81 Bellabelle Place in Hackensack. This is another Cape Cod style home with a approximate square footage of 1,304 square feet. Let's look at our next slide. So this property is composed of 4 bedrooms and 3 baths. The basement also has a large studio apartment with, the home has new granite baths, and its short sale was approved prior to the sheriff's sale taking place. So that looks like we can gauge more or less what the bank is going to be asking for at the sheriff's sale. The taxes on this particular home are $7,665 per year, and the home can be resold for $325,000. And when it's in good condition, the repair budget on this should be somewhere around $50,000, and the rent range for this home can be somewhere around $2,500 per month.
All right, everything seems to be clear on this property. Just make sure you check the taxes.
Overall, I think we lend around $230,000, which is about 70% of the repair value. That should cover your purchase price. Would be about 80 to 85%. We loan on the purchase price, and the remainder would cover the cost of the rehab.
All right, our next property is 11 Belmont Avenue in Emerson, New Jersey. This is a bi-level home with approximately 1,120 square feet. Let's go ahead and jump into our next slide, and we can confirm that this home is a single family with 3 beds, 2 baths. There is garage parking available as well, as you can see. It has a newer full ceramic tile bath with jacuzzi tub. The home also has an above ground pool, and the taxes are $9,656 per year. The home can be resold for approximately $480,000 when it's in great shape. The budget on this one for construction should be somewhere around $75,000, and your rent on this could be as high as $3,000 per month.
All right, and on this, title seems to be clear. There is a lot of money owed on this property. Taxes, just make sure you call on those taxes, make sure you find out what's owed.
And that is a recent picture, ladies and gentlemen. It does snow here in April and May.
Yeah, we lend around $336,000 to this property. It looks like it needs some work. So the $75,000 repair estimate it could be in line, but this is something we'd look a little more closely into, especially you mentioned the taxes are rather high on this.
The taxes were. No, the taxes were close to
Oh,
the tax. Yeah, it was just what was actually owed on the property.
Oh, what's owed on the property? Yeah. Oh, hello.
That's a house.
Bill, your house is up for sale.
Yeah, man. I'm waiting till tomorrow's picture. I'm hoping to get out of this.
Our next property now is 282 Starling Court in Paramus, which is a really great town. This home is a really big colonial, new construction, approximately 3,816 square feet. Let's go ahead and jump into our next slide, and we can find out some more details. All right, as we mentioned earlier, this is a new construction with 5 bedrooms, 4.5 baths. It does have a master suite with a walk-in closet and a jacuzzi, 2-car garage, and the taxes on this one are really high. They're approximately $18,336 per year, so be careful with that. This home, after repairs, if it needs any, can be resold for $1.1 million plus. The repair estimate on this could be somewhere around $150,000, but this could swing wildly in any direction unless you get in to see it for yourself. This home can be rented for over $5,000 a month if you are able to. And check out title.
On the first mortgage, there are 3 mortgages against this property. And this is one of those ones where I mean, if there's
Is it? Are we offline? Sebastian. Where's Hillsdale, Lewis?
Good question. Very good.
Okay, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the interruption, technical difficulty.
So our next property now is 55 Large Avenue in Hillsdale. This is a nice colonial home with 2,604 square feet. On our next slide, we can see that this home is confirmed to be a single-family home with 5 beds, 2.5 baths, a 2-car garage. It's located near the schools and the transportation to New York. The square footage was confirmed to be 2,604, and the taxes on this are $13,575 per year. The home can be resold for approximately $550,000 when it's in good condition. The repair budget on this could be as high as $87,000 if you need to do interior repairs. And the rent range for this can be approximately $4,000 per month.
And title on this also seems to be clear. There's a little bit of a title history on this property, so there's a lot that went on in the past. But from what we can see here, it seems to be clear. Just make sure you call and check on the taxes for this.
This is a really nice property. The after repair value is about $550,000. So we lend around $390,000 for this property. As far as the purchase price, about 85% of that would be about $305,000. So, between 385 and 305, that leaves you around 80,000 to do rehab. So our estimate's about 87,000. Again, that might require a borrower to put a little bit more of their own money into the property, either on the front end or the back end. You have to kind of have more money at closing table when your repair estimate goes above the amount of money the lender's going to give you.
Our next property is 597 Studio Road in Richfield, New Jersey. This split level looking home is 1,940 square feet. Let's go ahead and look at our next slide, and we can confirm that this is a single family with driveway parking, no garage. It has a detached garage off to the right of the home, and it's located near School 4. The square footage was confirmed to be 1,940, and the taxes are $7,294 per year. The after repair value of this home is $430,000. You may want to budget $70,000 for repairs, and your rent range for this home is approximately $3,000 per month.
All right, and title seems to be clean on this property. Just call in the taxes, make sure that you find out what's going on with those taxes.
On this property, for purchase price, we would loan anywhere between around $230,000 and $240,000 for the purchase. Overall, the loan would be around $300,000 to $305,000 based on the after repair value, which, based on those numbers, would cover your rehab costs of $70,000.
All right, our next property is 432 63rd Street in West New York, New Jersey. This is approximately 1,524 square foot home. Let's go ahead and jump into our next slide, and we can verify that this one was actually two-family residence. Well, it looks like it's almost attached. I think there's a little gap. I'm not 100% sure, but call it attached is what I'm getting from my data. There is parking available. It has 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, and there was a short sale started on this property. So you may want to contact the listing agent on this one to see if you can get interior access. The taxes on this home are approximately $7,110 per year. The after repair value on this home is $410,000. The repair estimate on this is $68,000, and the rent range on this home is approximately $3,000 per month.
And title seems to be clear on this property. Just make sure you call and check on the taxes.
On this property, we would lend, I want to say around $285,000 to $295,000. For purchase, we lend around anywhere between $225,000 to $230,000 to cover your rehab. And these are properties that people are really looking for, 2 families, especially if you can live in a unit and rent out a unit in this day and age, and essentially maybe even get your mortgage paid off. It could be a really good investment for someone who's willing to live in one unit and rent out the other unit.
All right, our next property now is 248 46th Street in Union City. This property is approximately 3,500 square feet. Let's go ahead and jump into our next slide, and we can see that this is actually a 3-family home. It has no parking available. The square footage was confirmed to be 3,500 square feet. It's located near public schools and transportation, and the taxes on this home are $13,878 per year. Union City is a very hot market, so this will definitely sell if it's priced right. This home can be resold for around $600,000 when it's in good condition. The repair budget on this is going to be over $80,000 if it needs a lot of work, and the rent you can collect on this home is at least $4,500 per month.
And title seems to be clear on this property. Other than that, make sure you check your taxes.
Yeah, I can't imagine that staying.
No, that won't, this property won't stick around, especially a three-family. Again, it gets back to what I was just talking about. If you could, live in a unit and rent out two other units, this property essentially could pay for itself. Union City is very hot. I have a borrower right now who's converting a single into a double for this very reason. So on a property like this, based on the repaired value of $600,000, we'd lend an estimated $420,000. You'd be in for about 15% of the purchase price on this. So looking at your repair estimate, it could go a little bit outside the range of the 100%, but in an area like this where we know is hot, that's when lenders are more okay with areas that are hot, and more to give a little more leverage toward a borrower because they know that there's a lot of demand for these properties.
Our next property now is 1108 Mayfair Drive in Rahway, New Jersey. This is a Cape Cod style home with 1,152 square feet. Let's go ahead and we'll jump into our next slide. We were able to confirm that this home has 3 beds, 1 bath. There is garage parking available. Home also has central air and the basement has a full kitchen. The square footage was accurate at 1152. The taxes on this home are $8,076 per year. There is a lot going on in Rahway now. It's going through a renaissance, so this might be a good home not only for owner occupants, but also maybe for investors. The home can be resold in good condition for about $250,000 or more. The repair budget on this should be somewhere around $45,000, and the rent range is somewhere around $2,000 per month. Title?
Title seems to be clean. First mortgage, it's about it. Just make sure you call and check your taxes.
Yes, I'm from Rahway, a homeowner in Rahway. I would agree with everything Louis said. This is a great property to get and is going through a renaissance and on the northeast quarter line, actually.
Based on the repair value of $250,000, we lend an estimated $175,000 for this property. Once you subtract your $45,000 rehab budget, that leaves you with $130,000. And if the as-is value is $162,000 and you're in for 22%, 20%, that's going to kind of, fit the model perfectly. So this could be really either, it could be a pretty good flip for someone looking to kind of, get their feet wet in the flip market. But again, I think a lot of people will desire this property for the reasons that they mentioned.
Our next property now is 446-448 Monroe Avenue in Elizabeth. This home is comprised of 2,937 square feet. Let's go ahead and see some more details. So the home is a 2-family residence with 5 beds, 3 baths. There is driveway parking available on this one, which is a definite plus in Elizabeth. And it is listed as a short sale at the moment, so you might be able to contact the listing agent and get interior access. The property does need TLC as per what the MLS has stated. The taxes are $10,932 per year, which is pretty average for a home like this. The after repair value of this home is at least $335,000. The repair estimate should be at least $60,000 in that price range, and you can rent this home for a minimum of $3,000 per month.
And let's see, honestly, title seems to be pretty clear on this. There's really not much going on. There's first mortgage against the property. Other than that, just make sure you call and check on those taxes.
Again, this is another property that looks like a really good property for, I wouldn't say necessarily a new investor, but a new investor or someone like that to get in on. As a lender, you can expect to get about 70% of the repaired value of something like this, which is around $235,000. Once you minus out your rehab estimate, you're left with around $175,000, $180,000. So based on what a lender is going to have you put in, anywhere between 10, 20%, this is going to kind of fit nicely into the model if you're using outside lending.
Our next property now is 701-705 Union Avenue in Elizabeth. Really large colonial style home. Let's go ahead and see what other data we were able to pull up. All right, so this home was confirmed to be a huge single family home with 6 beds, 3.2 baths. Parking, garage parking is available. It has 2 wood burning fireplaces. The square footage on this home is roughly 3,534 square feet. Taxes are just shy of $15,000 per year. Now, this location in Elizabeth is really nice. It's located in a district where there's a lot of historical homes. So you may want to be careful with that because it will limit you to the amount of renovations or type of renovations you can do to a home like this. Now, this home is valued at $425,000 in good condition. You may want to budget 70 grand for repairs if it needs any, which it looks like it's in pretty decent shape. The rent range for something like this is roughly around $3,650 per month.
And title on this seems to be pretty clear, very straightforward. There's a first mortgage against the property. Other than that, make sure you check your taxes.
Based on the repaired value of $425,000, we'd lend an estimated $298,000. Once you minus out your repair estimate of $70,000, you're down to like $225,000, $230,000. So again, this also fits in with the model of what lenders will be looking for, loaning you 100% of the rehab, anywhere between 65 and 70% of the repaired value. But something to look out for, and as Lewis mentioned, this is a historical neighborhood and it could limit the kind of stuff that you can do. Also realize it's a beautiful looking home that you can find yourself in a situation where if the value of the house is so much higher than the average price of houses in that town, a lender might sort of haircut you a little bit. But by that, I mean how much they're going to lend you on purchase. If this is, a house that's such a greater value than all the other houses around it, they may think it's a little bit more difficult to sell. I'm not saying that's the case with this house or any house in particular, but that's something to look out for.
Our next property now is 1010 Flora Street in Elizabeth. This appears to be a multifamily home. Let's go ahead and jump into our next slide. It's confirmed to be a 2-family home. Does not have parking, which most homes in this area do not. It's located near multiple schools, and it's a great opportunity for investors. As you can see, the home is most likely vacant. It's all boarded up. Taxes on this home are approximately $10,932 per year. Now, this is a really good part of Elizabeth to invest in. It's really changing daily. So I would recommend this to anyone who's looking for a multifamily for investment purposes. This home can be resold for approximately $275,000 after repairs. Your budget for construction on this should be somewhere at least at the very minimum $50,000. And please do not pay attention to the $22,000 mark that's there. That's an error. The rent range on this is going to be at least $2,600 per month.
And for title for this, it's pretty clean. There's a first mortgage against the property. Other than that, make sure you call and check on those taxes.
I'm sorry, Lewis, what was the error potentially?
The repair estimate is way off. It should be about 50 grand.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say this is a phenomenal deal. That being said, it kind of gets back to the previous slide, the previous house. Elizabeth has a wide range of different kind of houses. And just to kind of lean on that a little bit, this is kind of more in line with some of what you can get in Elizabeth. But as Lewis also pointed out, this is an area that's really great for buy and hold investing. Based on $275,000 repair estimate, we would land around $190,000, assuming that you're going to be in for 15 to 20% of the purchase price. Again, this is a really good opportunity for someone looking to invest long term, buy and hold, and get great rents in an area. Absolutely. 22,000. I was in. I was going to jump on that.
That's material.
Yeah, I was
Our next property now is 407 West Stimson Avenue in Linden, New Jersey. This home is a multifamily home with approximately, I think a little more than 1,250 square feet. So we're going to go ahead and jump into our next slide and see what other information we found. The home is a two-family residence with 6 beds and 3 2.5 baths. The garage parking is available, as you can see here. It's located near elementary school. I think that's the name of the school. Number 2, I think that's the name of the elementary school in that area. It has a 7-star rating, so it's a decent school, a good school district. The taxes on this home are just under $12,000 a year. It is a multifamily in Linden, which is also on a train path. So this could be a good investment for most people. This home can be resold for $375,000 when in good condition. Budget $62,500 for repairs, and the rent range on this could be at least $3,200 per month.
Title seems to be pretty clear on this property. Just make sure you call and check on those taxes.
Lenders can lend approximately $260,000 to $265,000 on this property. You minus out your rehab costs is a great way to look at it. You know, you'll be left with $200,000 after $60,000+ repair. If you're in for 15-20%, that's going to cover your purchase price and your rehab. That's a healthy rehab. So as Louis pointed out, this is a good property for investment.
Our next property now is 118 Marshall Street in Elizabeth, New Jersey. This is a multifamily home. Let's go ahead and jump into our next slide and see what other data we found. So this confirmed to be a two-family as per the MLS. So it's 6 beds, 4.5 bathrooms. So that means you're probably working with a finished basement. We also have a 1-car garage underneath the home, and the home is on the MLS now as a short sale. So you might be able to contact the listing agent on this one for interior access. The square footage on this one is approximately 2,613 square feet. The taxes are $14,761 a year. So you definitely want to check your taxes on this property. The after repair value is approximately $330,000. The repair budget on this should be about $52,000, and your rent is going to be minimum $3,000 per month.
The title seems to be clear on this. There's a little bit of a title history, but it seems to be clear. Other than that, make sure you call and check for those taxes.
Port section of Elizabeth, this is gotta sell. It's a hot area.
Based on the repair value of $330,000, we'll lend around $230,000, minus out your $50,000 in rehab estimate. You'll be left with around $180,000. So expect that you're going to have to bring around $34,000 to $40,000 to the table on a property like this. The lender's going to fill in the rest and give you 100% of your rehab costs. But again, remember, rehab costs are reimbursed costs. So lenders are looking for you to begin the work, and they reimburse you as you go along. I want to be like your boss, like check your taxes. It's reimbursed.
Okay.
All right, our next property is 13 Decker Avenue in Elizabeth. Go ahead and move into our next slide. So this property has been confirmed to be a single-family home with 3 beds and 2.5 baths. There is garage parking on this property. It has an oversized garage with a recreation room attached. The attic can be used for expansion. The home does have central air as well, so that's a plus. The taxes on this one are $10,904 per year. Now, this home can be resold for about $305,000 in good condition. The repair budget for this should be approximately $50,000, and the rent range on this should be about $2,600 per month.
All right. Once again, title seems to be clear on this property. Just make sure you call, check on those taxes.
Based on the $305,000 repair value, I'm just going to give you around $215,000 total for this property. Once you minus out your rehab estimate, you're going to be left with, I'm not that good at math today, $165,000. So expect that you'll be around anywhere between $30,000 to $40,000 down. And then just going to fill in the rest for the purchase, and they're going to fund you 100% of your rehab costs based on these numbers.
Okay, great. Our next property now is 1219 Clark Street in Rahway. This appears to be a single-family home with 1,331 square feet. The home is comprised of 3 beds, 1 bath. There is driveway parking on this one, a very long driveway at that, and it's located near Grover Cleveland Elementary School. The square footage was confirmed at 1,331. Taxes are $6,261 per year, so they're relatively low. And the home can be resold after repairs for about $205,000, maybe closer to $225,000, depending on how your finishes are. The repair budget on this should be about $37,500 per year. I'm sorry, $37,500. And then the rent on this could be somewhere around $1,700 per month.
Our title on this property also seems to be pretty clear. Just make sure you check your taxes. Making this too easy for me.
A property like this with a repair value of $205,000, the lender's going to give you anywhere between $135,000 and $145,000. But just worth pointing out, we'll probably give you around $105,000 for the purchase price. You would have to bring the rest of the table, of course, and we give you full rehab budget. But it's worth noting that when the property values kind of start to go lower, there's sort of an inclination for people to think it's less of a risk for a lender because it's lower value. It's actually potentially more of a risk the lower the property value from a lender's perspective, because they would think maybe there's less demand. Not to say that this property one way or the other wouldn't have demand, but just to point out that the lower the value of a property that you're going after from a lender perspective is potentially more of a risk from a lender. So they may make you bring more to the table rather than just 15 to 20%. Sometimes they may ask for 25% down and they refund the rest.
Our next property on the screen is 202 William Street in Rahway. This looks to be a single-family home at 1,334 square feet. Go ahead and jump into our next slide, and we can see that the home is made up of 3 beds and 1 bath, has a newer roof, windows, and updated electrical and plumbing. It also has a newer oil tank, but it does need some TLC. It's subject to third-party approval, which means you may be able to contact the agent to get interior access. Taxes on this home are approximately $6,523 per year. Now, even though you have a newer oil tank on this property, which might be above ground, that means the home is heated or has been heated by oil. So there may be another one underground. So always make sure that if you're going to go for this property, just do some research on that, because you may end up with an underground oil tank that's contaminated. Now, the home can be resold for approximately $300,000 when it's after repairs. The repair budget on this should be about $50,000, and the rent range on this one should be about $2,400.
All right, title on this property seems to be clean once again. Just make sure you call and check on those taxes.
From a lending perspective, these are pretty easy numbers. We're going to give you around $210,000 overall. Minus that, your rehab estimate is $50,000. We're going to give you around $160,000 for purchase, which leaves you the difference between $195,000 and $160,000. It's going to leave you around 83%. But again, in our case, from a lending perspective, we may even give you a little more, because the lender sometimes factors in any costs that you might have to pay up front. So rather than it being $195,000, we may give you around 80 to 85% of, say, $205,000 if your costs, your fees, etc. We put that on top of that. So again, another pretty good investment that fits pretty neat into the box for a lender.
Our next property is 305-307 Leland Avenue in Plainfield. This is a nice colonial style home with 1,488 square feet. Let's go ahead and jump into that next slide. Okay, this single family residence is composed of 4 beds, 2 baths. It has garage parking available. There is also a short sale being conducted on this property, so reach out to that listing agent to get more information. The buyer was responsible for the CO, so that means it probably does need some repairs. And the taxes on this home are just under $6,000 per year. And after repair value, this home can probably be valued somewhere around $170,000. The repair estimate is at least $22,000, and your after repair, and then your rent is somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,400 plus every month.
Title seems to be clear on this property. Just make sure you call and check on those taxes.
We would lend about anywhere between $90,000 and $97,000 for purchase on a property like this. This is really good from what we're seeing in our office, at least. This is a really good rental market for us, for our buyers who do take down properties in Plainfield. Time and time again, they're collecting great rents, and the purchase price isn't necessarily that high. So definitely a good investment to look at, or at least certainly be looking in the Plainfield area. Right down the street.
Next property is 41 Harding Avenue, Clark. This is a nice single-family home. Let's go ahead and jump into our next slide and see what we have. So it's confirmed that this home has 4 beds and 2 baths. Driveway parking is clearly available on this one. It's located near shopping centers, park, transportation, so it's a great town all around. There is a short sale being conducted on this one as well, so you may be able to get some interior access. Taxes on this property are approximately $7,500 per year. The after repair value on this home is approximately $300,000. The repair budget is somewhere around $42,000, and the rent range on this home is somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,400 per month.
All right, there's a long mortgage history on this property, but everything seems to be under the first mortgage at this point, so title's clear. Just make sure you check those taxes.
Once again, relatively easy numbers based on a $300,000 repair value. We would lend about $210,000 for a property like this. Minus that, your $42,500, you're left with around $167,000. So if you're 15-20% in, we should cover the most of the purchase price, or the purchase price on the rehab budget. But again, as Louis pointed out, a great rent range in Clark, New Jersey, and just a great overall area to invest in.
Outstanding. I think that concludes our pre-auction review of assets for this particular session. We will now start with the questions and answers for today, correct?
Sure, absolutely. So we have some questions from our viewers. We're going to start. I'm sorry, you recording?
I need blindsides here, these persons. Yeah, you seem to wear that shirt and sweater quite a bit.
Here we go.
Are we on that or off? On.
On.
Hello. Oh, yeah.
Go.
Very good. All right. So our first 2 questions are addressed to Greg. So is it possible that the home may carry liens from credit card companies? And should I hire an attorney to find out the title information?
I'm going to start with the second question. And you don't need to hire an attorney to find out title information. You hire a title company to do that for you. We have all kinds of different programs. One of our biggest things right now is our investors program, where for a much smaller fee than actually getting title insurance, you can give us a call and we can do a present owner search on the property, tell you exactly what's going on with the liens against the property. Now, rolling back to the first question, as long as a judgment is filed, which most usually are, judgments attached to any properties of the owner. So yes, the answer is yes. A credit card lien could be put against the property, but on a foreclosure, as long as it's named and served correctly, it really shouldn't be an issue.
Good. Our next question is there a difference in the process to remove a homeowner from the property versus a renter, and how long does the eviction process take? So yes, there definitely is a difference. One, it would be called an ejectment or a writ of possession for a previous homeowner. And that means that they really have no rights to the home anymore if they're foreclosed on. So that process will go much smoother and probably take about 60 days to about 120 days. But you're definitely guaranteed to get that property in your possession. Now, with a tenant, you don't have that guarantee, because if the tenant continues to pay you fair market rent, there really is no way to get that person out unless you entice them with an offer they can't resist. If they do not want to pay the new market rent, you can evict them for that as well. And if they have no lease and you intend to live in that house as your primary residence and they have no lease, you can give them 60 days notice. So there's a lot of different things that differ those two groups of homeowners, or whether it's a tenant or homeowner. So definitely is a different process. And how long does the eviction process take? Well, that eviction process could take as little as 60 days, or it could take forever, depending on what they tell the judge or what they find. So there really is no maximum time. So in New Jersey, at least, the tenants really do have a lot of rights. So be careful when you have a tenant versus a previous owner. Okay, our next question is, what amount should I expect properties to sell for at these auctions? Is it reasonable to be able to purchase a property between $175,000 and $200,000? And do I have to pay cash for them? David, I'll let you take that.
You have to show up at the auction, depending on the county, with anywhere between 10 and 20%. And we suggest bringing checks in different increments along the way, because if you say you had to put down easy numbers, 10% of 100,000, and you only had a $20,000 check, they're just going to hold that all. They're not going to refund you on the spot. Is it reasonable to find a property for a value of $175,000, $200,000 in these counties? I mean, it varies. New Jersey is one of the most variable states in the entire country. On some level, the state can be looked at as a microcosm of the whole country on some level. So depending on where you want to buy, if you're in Bergen County or parts of Hudson County, maybe not as reasonable to expect to find properties in that range. If you go down in parts of South Jersey, Burlington, Gloucester, Camden counties, Mercer counties, that's very reasonable to find properties in that range. But again, you're bringing, let's say, 10 to 20% to the sheriff's sale. You're going to owe the other 80 to 90% in a 30-day window in most counties. Not all counties are the same, so definitely you should reach out to someone like myself or a title company to find out what the process is like in these different counties, because again, they are all different, but you're going to owe the rest of that money within a certain window, anywhere between 2 weeks, 30 days. Once that 30-day mark hits, it's not as if they're just taking your money from you. They begin to charge you per diem interest.
After the 11th day, I believe.
After the 11th day, so you're paying it as you go. They want the rest of the money by the 30th. That's not necessarily a very hard number, but it's certainly something to be mindful of. So it's important to have everything in order before you show up at a sheriff's sale and hand someone 10 to 20% of a property, and then start calling around for someone like Lewis or someone like contractor. Get things in order. Know what you're doing, have a plan ahead of time. If you need a lender, reach out to a lender beforehand. Make sure you're qualified for the amount of a loan that you want to take out in advance of anything that you do.
Yes, great information, Dave. And all of these resources are available to you here at auction.com, the experts that we have on hand. So again, please get engaged with some of our educational programs at auction.com/event calendar.
Next question, how long does it take to officially become the new owner of a property? Do I get a deed? And how long does that process usually take? So I would say, Greg, you take this one.
Yeah, I can take it. That's not a problem. So you officially become the new owner once the sheriff actually issues the deed to you. Once we actually physically get the deed. Do I get the deed? So yes, you would get the deed, but not immediately. So what will end up happening is, if you have a title, if you're running title and you're getting title insurance, the title company would normally handle that. So it depends on the county how the process goes of actually getting the deed, but we would set up for recording, and then it would come back to us and we'd send you the original deed. That process, it really varies county to county. Some counties are on a 3-week turnaround, some counties are on a 3-month turnaround. It depends on what county you're looking at. But you become the property owner once you pay the sheriff in full and they hand you a deed.
If I could kind of elaborate on his point, getting back to title, if you have a title agent that you use to purchase the home that you live in, that's not necessarily, I'm not saying it isn't, that's not necessarily someone that's going to handle these types of transactions. make sure you're talking to someone used to these transactions, because, you know, Greg's company and other companies, they have relationships, because relationships are everything in this business and every business. They have relationships with people at these counties. And if you want to make sure that that deed gets recorded in time, you want to make sure that someone can call that sheriff and can speak to someone there and make sure that they get a little bit of priority. And that might sound like, oh, maybe that's not fair, but this is not necessarily fair or unfair. That's just the world we live in. You want to be dealing from an investment space with a title company and a realtor that are basically well-versed in these spaces, not just someone that you like and you've used in the past. You want to deal with someone that knows what they're doing to make sure this property happens quickly and is streamlined.
Next question is, do construction liens get wiped clear as part of the foreclosure process? And are you liable for any unpaid property taxes? Greg?
Okay, so I'm gonna start with the tax lien. So, I mean, not the tax liens, I'm sorry. So I'm gonna start with the construction liens. Construction liens, all liens on the property should get wiped out at foreclosure, as long as they're named and served properly. And that's the big thing. As long as they handle the foreclosure correctly, they should get wiped out. Now, if they're not, worst case scenario, it would still be attached to the property. They only stay on the property for a year, so it's not a huge deal. But you would want to do your due diligence. My suggestion would be is the second you do purchase the property, always honestly call us. You're going to want to get your title insurance. You're going to want to do a full search, a transfer abstract, which is what allows you to actually go and make sure that everyone was named and served correctly. And then if there is an issue post that, we can go back to the sheriff and see what we can do. So there are options at that point if something that does happen. And are you liable for unpaid property taxes? Absolutely. You're liable for every penny owed on taxes on that property. So if there's anything owed tax-wise on that property, when you buy it, now it's your problem. So you have to pay those taxes. That's why I always say make sure you call and find out what's owed, because it can completely change how much you want to bid for a property.
And also, just not that we ran across any of these properties today, but HOA fees, they stick with what, 3 to 6 months? What is it?
HOAs and condo fees are a little bit different. HOAs, it really depends on how their bylaws are written.
And they stick.
Yeah. Condo fees, the rule's usually 6 months. So if the condo fees are $100 a month, you're probably going to owe about $600 in condo fees. But you can always call and find out what's going on. Those HOAs are a little bit different, though. It really depends on what their bylaws are.
If you do not have rent control in your town, your local
Chilly down here.